What's up, guys, and welcome to today's video. Obviously, as the title says, today we're going to talk about getting the best out of your plugins, getting the best tone out of your guitar, your whole setup as a whole, so that you get the best plugin tone, out of whatever you happen to be buying or downloading right now. This is going to be a little different than most of the videos I usually do. It's going to be a little less formal. It's probably not going to be a lot of editing. It's going to be just one big one take. I figured I'd give you guys as much information as I could. To get the best out of your plugins, and I didn't think that was enough information to make like one video, so I figured I would also go through, Amp Pump and maybe some other STL Tone plugins, drink a beer, make some tones, and just chat with you guys for a little bit. So yeah, let's do it. And there goes the editing, right? I'm sure that was just edited because I just sat here staring at the wall for a minute, but this is what I'm starting off with. I'm in Amp Hub right now. That new 5153 is so sick. By the way, for anybody wondering what tuning I'm in, I get that question a lot, whether if I'm making videos for STL Tones or for mine. I'm usually in DADGAD now. I don't know, I got into a phase like a while back where I was watching a ton of John Brown, and I was watching his channel a lot. And then I learned and covered Animus, and I just love the tuning. It's one of those really cool things. Like, I think Mark Holcomb from Periphery, and I've heard various other people say it, but I think it stuck when he said it. And he's like, whenever you get stuck and you can't write anything, just change the tuning of your guitar, and it's going to completely change the way you look at the fretboard and change the way you write music. So it'll help you out if you get in a rut. That's exactly what happened to me. So I was kind of over the whole drop tuning. So I just switched to this DADGAD tuning, and it really did help. It really did get me to write different things. So yeah, if you're stuck in a rut, I highly recommend changing the tuning. So the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to getting the best tone out of your plugins, and the reason I'm addressing this is because one of the most frequently commented or asked questions I get, whether if it's on my channel or on the STL Tones channel, is I just saw you demo that plugin and then I downloaded it and now it sounds nothing like, what it sounded like in your video. And then people start coming up with their own reasons why. And they start saying, well, maybe you have a really expensive interface. Maybe you have, I don't know, they'll pick anything out. They go all the way down to picks. Maybe he's using a different pick, you know what I mean? It's just, after a while, I started seeing all these things and I started, thinking I should really make this video and talk to you guys about what I'm doing, be completely transparent, and go through my entire setup to let you know from top to bottom what I'm doing to get this tone. The first thing I want to start off with is that, no, I'm not doing any post EQing, compressing, or anything. I am just recording the tone as it comes out of the plugin, and then I am exporting that out, throwing it to you. So you're hearing it raw. I'm not doing anything. There's no magic bullet that I'm going to share with you guys today. There's no magic pedal that I'm running through here that you guys can't see. It just isn't like that. What I am going to do is give you guys all the tips and things that I make sure are in line before I film a video, so that you can get as close to tone, as possible. So you can get as close, as possible to the tone that you are looking for. By the way, that's an example of what would have been edited out, but I don't feel like editing today. I feel like having a beer, chilling with you guys, and just hanging out and playing some guitar. So I'm just going to record this as it goes, and if it's a train wreck, well, it's a train wreck. Oh well. So the first thing I want to talk about is the easiest part, and that is your strings. Change your strings. And there's like a weird debate online about whether if it matters. I can't even believe this is a conversation. It's really stupid. Just change your strings. I mean, if anybody goes into the recording studio, they change their strings. If you're going to play a live gig, you change your strings. If you're going to do anything important with your guitar, you change your strings. So why is it that there's even a conversation about whether it matters? Anytime I film a video, anytime I'm demoing anything, I change the strings because it makes an enormous difference. It sounds crisp, it sounds clean. The old strings sound dull. They kind of put this weird overtone on your tone, and it's just so easy to tell. If you're being so lazy that you're trying to come up with an excuse as to why you shouldn't have to change your strings, then don't bitch about having bad tone. Just change your strings. And then you can start weeding things out from there. But if you haven't even changed your strings, I don't know why you're still looking for a problem with the plugin. And I don't mean you have to change them right before every single time. Like, for instance, these are fresh from a video I just made for STL, so these are like maybe 4 days old. I wiped them down, I put the guitar in the case, and they still sound pretty good. And I know you can hear some of it because I always allow my room microphone to pick up a little bit of the guitar strings, and you can hear that twang. You can hear that crisp twang that comes out of the strings when they're fresh, and when they're not, it's like this dull, dead sounding type of a deal. And if you don't think that's translating into your tone, come on. Change your strings, start there. The next thing that people typically pick on is the pickups. They say, well, he must have really expensive pickups in that guitar, or maybe the pickups in my guitar just aren't that good, and that's why the plugin doesn't sound very good. As long as, honestly, all of the pickups that are being installed in most guitars right now are fine. They're good. I mean, if you're buying like a $100, $200 special from like Amazon or Wish.com, well, then I really can't help you. You should probably look into getting just some very standard base level Seymour Duncans, or the Guitarmory has really good deals if you guys want to check them out. They have very price friendly deals from them, and those are very quality pickups. They're very good. But the thing is that there's so many companies now that are making pickups that you kind of get that option paralysis when you don't know what to pick. And just pick a set. I promise you. Just go and watch some videos. Look up the set that most sounds like what you want to play, and buy it, and you're going to be fine. These are Seymour Duncans. So, Ibanez puts different pickups in different guitars. These are handmade guitars, so whatever they feel like they want to go with that series of guitar, they throw those in there. So this is the Seymour Duncan Nazgul in the bridge, and the Sentient in the neck. And it's a great. I didn't really love them when I first got the guitar, but I love them now. They definitely grew on me, and they definitely complement the wood and the way this guitar is built. So, but they're not. These are not expensive pickups. You don't have to have $400 Fishman pickups in your guitar. You don't have to have some mad scientist go through and take apart your guitar and redo the electronics or anything like that. These are just standard pickups that you can buy from Seymour Duncan. They don't cost that much. It's like $1.25, $1.20 per pickup. Nothing crazy. So yeah, as long as you have a decent set of pickups in your guitar, you're fine. And of course that brings me to the guitar overall. Like I said, if you got like a $100 special off Amazon or Wish.com, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what those things are made of. There's a ton of videos where people do a lot of things to try to make them sound good. And even then, those guitars don't really sound that bad. They just have tuning issues and stability issues, and they break, But as far as like the noise that comes out, you can make almost anything sound good as long as you can mess with, everything that's going on in between. So, as long as you have a decent guitar, look at Solar, look at all these guitars that are coming out, these guitar companies, look at Chapman Guitars. There's a lot of very affordable, amazing guitars that are out there. So I don't really see that being, an issue. As long as you have a decent guitar, with new strings on it and a decent set of pickups, you have a very good, guitar ready for plug and tone. This guitar cable I got from Amazon.com. And I paid the least amount possible for the most cables possible, and I have had no problems whatsoever. But, and some of my guys that are going to be in the comment section maybe can attest to this, I help as many people as humanly possible. You guys see my Instagram come up. You guys typically have found me on Facebook by now, or you can just send me a message, commenting down below. I help as many people as I can. If you ask me a question and you say, hey, listen, I downloaded this plugin and I can't get it to work right, I've FaceTimed with, subscribers and people and done the best I could just to help them troubleshoot what's going on. And more than a few times, it has been their guitar cables. Their guitar cables or speaker cables, one of them was going bad. Not every cable that you have is just simply going to go out, right? Some of them die slowly, and when they're dying slowly, they add this weird buzzing noise that you think for some reason is just going to magically disappear when you start playing. It doesn't. It's stuck in there every single time you're playing. It's adding all this noise to your tone, and it really does prevent the plugin from sounding like what it's supposed to. And it's definitely going to prevent it from sounding like what you hear on the, recorded off of the video. So make sure all your cables are good. Go through and check each one of them. Make sure they're not buzzing, cracking, or anything weird like that. Make sure you don't have a short anywhere. And as long as that's all good, then your cables should be fine. And then, of course, we get to the interface, and that's the biggest one people have said are the reason for people's tone. People will watch Ola's video. I used to watch Ola's video and Ryan Bruce's video, and been like, man, they have like $3,000 preamps. You know what I mean? They have $3,000 audio interfaces. How can I get even close to the tone that they have? And that's just not what's happening. It's not the case. I have an Audio Arrow interface, Universal Audio Arrow interface. And granted, it's not cheap. It's like $600 plus. I don't know what it is now, but when I bought it, it was like $600. And what that is that's one preamp out of those big preamps that you see, either Ola or the professionals using. They take one preamp out. The reason those preamps cost so much, those audio interfaces cost so much, is because they have more options, they have more preamps, they have more ins and outs. So that's where the cost comes in. But this has the same preamp, it's just one, right? Instead of like 6 or 8 or whatever they're using. So, and I've seen Misha Mansour do amazing things with the Scarlett 2i2. So it's not the interface. And the Scarlett 2i2 is extremely affordable. It's like $179 or something like that for a good one. They might be cheaper. Honestly, I haven't looked them up in a while, but it's pretty affordable. And if you have a Scarlett 2i2 and you're looking at your setup and saying, well, I don't have a Universal Audio Arrow interface, that's why my tone doesn't sound like Abel's, that's why my tone doesn't sound like Ola's. That's really not the case. They're really, really good interfaces. They all sound relatively the same. There's gonna be such a small difference that you'd have to have them right next to each other in A/B just to hear it. But it's definitely not gonna stop your plugin from sounding good. So just keep that in mind. And so I'm basically this guitar cable going into that audio interface, going into Cubase. I use Cubase. I don't think that really matters if you're using Logic, if you're using whatever. I don't think it makes a difference. And then I have an instance of the plugin, which you guys see up on the screen right now. That's it. That's all I'm doing. What I want to get to right now before I start, I know I'm talking like way too much, and you guys probably want to hear some guitar tones, you probably want to hear some playing instead of me babbling. But the last thing I'm going to address, unless I think of something else while I'm doing this, but the last thing I'm going to address is the sound that you hear once the video gets uploaded to YouTube. What you guys need to realize is that there is a bunch of unintended compression put on those videos. So when I export the whatever tone I recorded out of my digital audio workstation, in this case Cubase, when I export it out and put it into my my video editing software, there's compression on it, right? Cubase does compress it a little bit as it's exporting out, so it's a manageable size. And then when you put it into, in my case, Final Cut Pro, I line everything up, I make sure everything looks good, I make sure everything sounds the way it's supposed to as far as it lining up with my guitar playing in the video, and then I export it again. Okay, well, Final Cut Pro puts more compression on that file, which further compresses that guitar tone, because it compresses everything in the video, the color, the sound, everything. And then you upload it to YouTube. That's another stage of compression, because if you don't like, I don't know, I guess there's like, technical specifications of editing out these videos to a certain level size or whatever. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of shit that goes down when you're technically going into uploading to YouTube. But YouTube essentially puts their own compression on it as well. So you've got like 3 unintended stages of compression before you guys actually hear the guitar tone. And I want to say that, or the reason I say that is because when I hear it fresh from my ears from the digital audio workstation to when I hear it loaded onto YouTube and listen to it out of my TV, there's a difference in tone. The tone sounds a little tighter, it sounds a little crisper, and that's because it's compressed. It does have a level of compression. It's not overkill, or else it would sound disgusting, but it sounds, it sounds relatively good. So if you guys are looking at people that are playing online and showing you tones, understand that what they're hearing in the room while they're recording the video is not what is hitting your ears. You're hearing multiple stages of compression depending on their process of editing their videos and doing all that, post-production stuff. So by the time it gets to you, it doesn't sound exactly the same. Keep that in mind. I don't think a lot of people have really addressed that, at least I haven't seen that happen, so that might be one reason why it sounds a little bit different than what you're hearing when you download a plugin. But like I said, as long as you have your strings changed, as long as you have a decent guitar with pickups in it, you don't have cables that are broken, the electronics aren't all jacked up in your guitar, right? So I've seen people online be like, I don't know what's going on with this plugin, it sounds like crap, and they stop playing, and then I hear this buzz. And they're like, oh yeah, well there's a buzz in my guitar, but that doesn't affect the tone. That stops when I start playing. And it's like, that's just not true. I'm sorry. If you don't have your shit together with your guitar and your wiring and all that stuff, you can't expect the plugin to sound the way it's supposed to, and you definitely can't blame the plugin that you bought. It's just, just use some common sense and everything's gonna be fine. But yeah, so I think the biggest thing there is that compression difference from when you upload a video to YouTube is gonna be the biggest difference from why you may hear a difference in tone. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's play some. Well, first of all, yeah, By the way, as I make this video, I have no idea what music I'm gonna put under it when I'm not playing, so it's not boring and I'm not just sitting here talking. So STL just released the 5153, which is a model of an EVH, and it sounds amazing. I made like a little lead patch, like. The problem with changing tunings is that I'm in DADGAD right now, and I can't, and people always talk about how I don't play that much lead anymore. And it's not necessarily because I don't want to, it's because I'm in DADGAD. So when you change the tuning of the guitar, you forget where all your scales are. So I don't really know how to play lead in DADGAD, so I stay away from it so I don't make like an ugly, stupid sound, because I know I'm gonna screw it up all the time. My brain just doesn't think in DADGAD, at least not when it comes to lead. I can write riffs all day like that, but the lead thing's just kind of not there yet. All right, so moving on from that, let's make some tones. If you guys have any questions, anything I skipped over, regarding my setup or what you want to know about how I record this stuff or anything I might have just skipped over, please leave it in the comments down below. I will do the best to answer the questions. So I don't know, let's just stay here. Let's stay in this red channel because this thing sounds actually pretty sick. And let's shut off these effects. And without them, I think I left this thing sounding pretty dry. All right, so as you guys can see, I'm in the red channel on this one, and the gain is fairly low because I have a pedal in front. I don't even know what it is. Okay, so and the boost is on. Cool. So I have the Tyrant Tube Screamer, which is from Ignite Amps, which I love this stuff, guys. When I first started making videos, they had a bunch of freeware, which they still do. The Emissary's free. The Prophet Pro FET pedal, whatever it is still free. And they have a Tyrant Tube Screamer for free. So you can get all that stuff and make a killer tone for free. So I've always just had a special place in my heart for all the stuff that Ignite Amps does. So it's really cool that I'm associated with STL now, and Ignite Amps is right there with them. It's so awesome. All right, so let's bring down some of this low because it's pretty hefty. Forgot how to play that song. Okay, let's bump up the high a little more. Quick tip. When you are setting up the gain from your interface, you know, like if you have a Scarlett 2i2, you want to turn up the gain until it starts to clip and turn red. Each plugin is going to receive that input differently. So I'm honestly clipping kind of when I play into my audio interface because I guess going into these plugins hot a little bit, you know what I mean? Basically clipping a little bit into them or just being right on that threshold where every once in a while you'll see it go into the orange or go into the red. It sounds correct. I don't know, it just sounds the most interactive. It sounds like it responds the best when you have it like that, so try that out. It's not always gonna work depending on what plugin you're using, but this was a tip that was actually given to me from STL Tones. I wasn't doing that before I started making videos for them, but when they received, I was sending them DIs, just dry DI signals that I was recording out, and they were like, hey man, these are actually really low. I mean, how do you have your gain set? And I was like, I have it right under the threshold of when it peaks to make sure that it's always in the green. And they said, hey, Sonny from STL said, hey, listen, why don't you go into it just a little bit hot? Just turn it up a little bit and see what that sounds like. And I did, and it's the best tip, honestly. It's the biggest game changer that I've done since I started messing with plugins. It sounds super sick, so try that out. Just try to lean into it a little more. Don't be so worried about it going into the red, and just see what it sounds like with every plugin that you try. And I guarantee you it's gonna sound really good. That's why I love DADGAD so much, because you can play it. Everything sounds good. It's hard to make a mistake, and I found that out, so that's why I set it up that way, so that if I'm playing chords or I'm doing something and I maybe land on something I didn't plan on landing on while I'm making a video, I don't have to go and cut that part out because it sounds like ass. You know what I mean? DADGAD saves you. Because if I'm here, it sounds good if I keep doing that same thing and move up. How do you guys feel about that new Ola song, Stars and Ponies? I think it's called Stars and Ponies. I don't know. I saw that video. The video is sick, by the way. I don't know who's making these really awesome lyric videos. Let me know down below because I'm looking for a guy to make one for me. But dude, they look so sick. It really had like a Raised by Wolves type of vibe, that HBO show, if you guys know what I'm talking about. But that song is awesome. The way it's got that whole 80s beginning in it. It's pretty sick. By the way, for all of you guys asking where the Solar is, it's over there. The Solar is stuck in a tuning, and you guys know it has an Evertune bridge mounted on it, and that's a pain in the ass to change. So I'm just being really lazy, and since I just have a hip shot on this one, I can just change tunings really quick. And I mean, I even used it for the Architect song, Animals, that I covered. I used this guitar, and I used the strings, the same string gauges that are on here, which is like 10 through 48, which are like really light strings because I play light strings. And I didn't have any thick gauge strings, so I just tuned that down to C sharp standard or whatever that song's in, which it made this. Go watch it if you haven't already. It's got this massive tone, and I think that was attributed by the way I had those strings set up. Okay, you know what I revisited lately? I did Andy James. Where's Andy James at? Andy James. By the way, when I set the screen recording box for this, I only did it to this plugin. So if you see like the stuff behind it, you know, like, oh well. Whoops. Don't know what I'm doing. Andy James, where you at, buddy? Where you at? There we go. By the way, I've been working on this song for Andy James' song After Midnight for like 2 years now. Still not there. Still not there. Listen to the difference there, because this is also an EVH. This amp 2 is all Andy James. This preset is Andy James. Listen to it. That sounds sick. And then one I still can't get over, and this whole thing is this. The Vox AC30 in this, which we'll go back and we'll look at the one in Amp Hub in a second. But this one is just super, super dope. Split that coil. Chord, man. My buddy Justin showed me that, as if you guys know who Justin is, but he showed me that one chord like 10 years ago and I can't get over it. It still sounds so beautiful. By the way, it's going to be a really long video, so if you want to skip around and try to find certain information, I apologize, but like I said, I don't feel like editing anything. I don't feel like turning this into a work video. I do enough of that now for other people, so I just wanted to sit down and chill. Let's throw a little bit more dirt in here. Drive is already maxed out on nets, so let's try it in the amp, I guess. Turn it off. That's what it did. Sick. What else we got in here? The Arrival lead tone. Let's see the Arrival lead tone. Clicked on the wrong preset. Yay! This one. What else we got? What else can we look at? What else can we check out? Shit. Let's see here. I guess we can go back to AmpHub. Let's check that out. Discard. Cool. Red Beast. Red Beast. Alright guys, so that's enough babble and playing. I know this is a really long video and I didn't edit much of it, but hopefully you guys found something helpful with the whole plugin talk. But yeah, I will catch you guys on the next one.